oh my gosh, it's just lonely. And that's something I struggle with. And I admit it. And, people be like, well, you shouldn't say you are lonely. Just say, you feel alone. I'm like, either way it goes, alone, lonely, whatever
Same
adjective,
thing
verb,
though.
whatever you want to give it.
Yeah.
I feel it. It's not as many people there when I was making poor choices and just letting the work, everybody have their way with me. Um, so it's very lonely. I will take lonely over misery any
Yeah.
day.
Hi, you're listening to On Your Terms with me, Hayley Ryan. This is the show where two people get honest about the messy reality of choosing yourself. No scripts, no performance, just real conversation about self-abandonment, boundaries, and what it actually looks like to live on your own terms. So let's get into it.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of On Your Terms. I'm joined today by JaHana Holloway, who is an author, a speaker, and a healing-centered creative whose work is rooted in transformation, self-reflection, and emotional healing. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, and good evening and morning to your audience, wherever they are as well.
Perfect. I'm so excited for this conversation because when we spoke in threads, there was a lot of crossover between my story and your story,
Mm-hmm.
particularly the self-abandonment being a big challenge from childhood. So do you want to start us off by telling me about your childhood and how those patterns came to be?
Yeah, well, so raised in a single parent household, and I had an older sister and a younger sister, so I was a middle child. It's so funny that as an adult, you can look back now and be like, oh, that's what that was. Because when you're in it, especially as a child, you don't know what it is. My mom was really, she was going to school, trying to work, working and going to school, should I say. And so she was emotionally unavailable for us. And at that age, I always used to try to make her, I wanted to make her happy. Like, felt like if she was upset, like, what could I do to help her feel better? Or was it because of me? Just thinking, blaming myself for stuff that really wasn't even my issues as a child. Even with my dad, he wasn't in the house, but when I did see him, I used to try to, like as a teen, definitely as an adult though, but I would always want to please him as well, like make sure his needs were met, even though I'm like, you haven't been there for me. I don't care. I'm going to do whatever you ask me to do. I'm not going to question it. It's always like, it has always been a pattern of self-sacrifice at my own detriment.
Mm.
And what ended up happening is, of course, I go straight from childhood to having my first child at 19. So I haven't even identified those patterns from childhood of people pleasing and feeling like I was not enough, and the outcast, the outlier, people bullied and talked about me. And then I go to having a child at 19. And now here I am passing on the same patterns to my children because I have yet to heal my own because I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
So it was just a lot of patterns of people pleasing, self, abandonment, like we talked about, neglect, and really just wanting to be liked and loved because I didn't know what it felt like. So I was looking for it in anybody and anything.
And at 19 as well, you're still really young, aren't you? And kind of learning how to be an adult yourself.
Yes. Yes. And that's exactly what it was. A child having a child. I went from my parents' house to at 20, I had my own place. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. See,
But
for me, it was slightly different because my people pleasing and self abandonment came because my mum was married to a soldier, so he was away a lot, and my mum was not always the best at holding things together because she was so worried about obviously what was going on overseas and that he was safe.
mm-hmm.
I was the oldest of three, and there's a big gap. There's 8 and 10 years between me and my two youngsters, so I kind of took a lot of responsibility and caretaking role
Mm-hmm.
as a result of that. So my people pleasing came as I need to take care of everybody and make sure everybody's safe and make sure everybody's nurtured and as happy as they can be, because
Mm-hmm.
otherwise it felt like as a child I'm probably like I was probably catastrophizing it more than it was, but it felt like if I didn't step up and be that person, everything would kind of crumble and fall apart around me. So it made
Yeah.
me feel safe to abandon
Mm-hmm.
myself for everybody else.
Exactly. Exactly. And the way you describe it is, to us as children, it does seem that major. Like, if I
Yeah.
don't do this, something is going to fall apart, but not knowing it wasn't even our responsibility to
Yeah.
do it, you know?
So
Yeah.
how did those that self-abandonment and the people pleasing and those patterns keep showing up? Because you mentioned you kind of was yearning for a lot of connection and
Mhm.
belonging. So these cycles repeat themselves as you were growing up and things like. So how was that?
Definitely showed up in in my relationships. It was just one toxic, unhealthy, dysfunctional relationship after another, and it was a cycle of going back,
Mm.
leaving, going back, leaving, because to me, with those type of relationships at that time, my value was, and if somebody wanted me, I was valuable.
Yeah.
If somebody did not want me, I was unworthy. And so I'm like, I'm going to keep a piece of man. I don't care how. I'm going to keep him. I don't care what he's doing. I'll forgive him. I'll forgive him. I'll forgive him. But once again, abandoning myself, all for the sake of love, and or the illusion of love, should I say. And so it was just one cycle after another. And then I just learned about narcissism in 2020 after I went through my divorce, but I didn't realize I was attracting a narcissist after another narcissist after another narcissist. And that's a whole nother story. I know some people feel like that's a buzzword and narcissism really isn't a thing, and that we just use it loosely. But if you have lived it and lived and been with one or two or three or four, it's an actual thing. It's for real.
Yeah, and it does tend to happen to people like us who are people pleasers and tend to abandon themselves. And like you say, going back to the thing of you doing everything to be indispensable, because when you're indispensable to people, you feel wanted, you feel valued, and it's almost like you're going out of your way to make yourself indispensable to people, because then they won't reject you, they won't toss you away, they'll keep you around because they need you.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than, but we don't realize that we don't want that. We want somebody who wants us, not
needs. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
and narcissists feed off that kind of emotion and input.
Yeah. They like I just did an interview the other few months ago, but I said that they smell it like blood, like how sharks smell blood. It's like they could spot you in a room full of people, they know where to go. And that's exactly how I ended up with the husband I had, is because I was out one night and I guess he smelled the neediness in me and he came, swam right over there to me, and the rest is history. So it's like, they do. They know they know who to, get it, pull into their web of deceit.
Yeah, and it's a tough one as well, isn't it? Because although people are taking advantage of us and our self-abandonment, it's kind of our fault in a way as well, because it's like I mentioned to you in the Threads chat we were having, I call myself a people pleaser in recovery. And the reason I use that terminology is because for me, people pleasing is an addiction. It is. People think of addiction as like alcoholism and drugs and things like that. But to me, like, people pleasing was my addiction. Like, I just wanted to make everybody happy because it made me feel safe. So what's your experience?
Well, that's why when we talked about that, I love that, because that's a joke that I would say is like, I need to go to rehab for this addiction with people pleasing, because it is an addiction. And, it's almost like you do getting high off of, you do something for somebody and they're like, oh my gosh, you're the best, isn't it? Like, oh my gosh, I want to do more. I want to do more. But not knowing that all of that is temporary and they're going to use you as long as you allow them to. And I tell people, I had an ex tell me, you always love playing the victim. You play the victim. And I'm like, I'm not playing the victim. I was victimized. Now, let's be clear. But to me, playing the victim is when you live there, you never get out of that cycle of just blaming everybody else. So I definitely know to take accountability, like, okay, how did I attract this into my life? What was I needing that led that person to me? Oh, I needed to be needed. Okay. And then this person here love to use people who love to be needed. Perfect match, right? So And I think a lot of people, empaths or whatever label they feel like they want to have or don't want to have, but um, we attract. I mean, I think they feel guilty and feel ashamed. Like, man, I'm attracting people like this. It has to be my fault. But then at the same time, I don't want to blame myself because I feel like I've been through so much abuse and everything. Shouldn't I share that? And shouldn't I be the victim? Like I said, when he said playing the victim, I have been victimized, but
Yeah.
I've also allowed it to happen in my life for whatever reason. But I didn't just wake up one day and say, I want to find me a man that's going to use me, beat me, and just, whatever in any type of way. I didn't wake up with, it's learned behavior and it takes decades to unlearn it.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
coping mechanisms. We've
Mhm.
learned that behavior from somewhere, as I say, because it's our way of keeping ourselves safe. We do certain things because that's how we've been programmed. That's the patterns that we've learned in order to make ourselves feel safe and regulated.
Mhm.
So I do believe you can be a victim, and like you say, when you are a continual victim, it's because you're living in that and you're not taking any kind of responsibility, or you're just blaming everybody else for the things that are going on, and you're not looking inward to go, well, hang on a minute, like, what was my part in all this? Because
Mhm.
there's always, whenever something happens, there's usually both sides. There's
Yes.
something on both sides. One side may be massively
Yes.
more victimizing than
Yeah.
the other. But there's always kind of little things that you can kind of say, well, yeah, I take responsibility because it was me that was offering that. It was me that was trying to win their love, and it was me that was that it it's one of the more difficult things to do, though, that self-awareness and being able to look at your role in the mistakes that have happened to you and will
Mhm.
happen in the future.
It is, and it's so much easier to blame somebody else. It
Yeah.
really is.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just that's how kind of like how society has it as well. Like everything is outside of us. You did this, they did this, the government did this. Sometimes we just need to get still and look inside. Like, wait a minute, what
Yeah.
is it with me? And that is hard to acknowledge because we don't want to acknowledge that we're flawed, that we have something we need to work on, that maybe we're not as perfect as we thought we were. But it's nothing better than once you get to that level of self-awareness, what's on the other side,
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Mhm.
So what's the most outrageous thing? Because obviously we're talking about self-awareness here. What's the most sort of ludicrous thing you've kind of done as a people pleaser or in a way of self-abandonment? Have you got any sorts, like, for me, I find it really weird. Like, I'm more bothered, or not so much now because I've got that awareness, but I used to be more bothered about what strangers used to think of me than
Mhm.
people that know me. And
Mhm.
I would like meet people and I'd literally know them for 5 seconds, and I'm like, oh yeah, if you're not feeling well, I'll take your dog for a walk.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I'll come and sit with you because you've hurt your shoulder and you're struggling to make cups of tea. And it's like, I don't want a stranger in my house. Thank you very
Uh-huh.
much.
Yes, that's that. Let me help you. Let me save
Yeah.
you. Yeah. Mhm.
So
I,
what?
I would say for me, um, one of the things I did was I was dating a guy and he was missing like a whole row of teeth on this side.
Right.
And when we're dating, I'm like, let me get you some teeth. Let me get your teeth fixed. Let me help you get so now I'm up here fixing this man's teeth up. And guess you already know what happened. Once he started feeling handsome, off
Oh
to the
yeah.
women went. So I'm
Yeah.
sitting here trying to fix up, I call it Bob the Builder syndrome because now I'm trying to fix and build a man up when I should have been fixing myself, but that people pleasing wanting to be loved. And it's so many stories of me just running like in the middle of the night, somebody could call me and I'm sleepy. I have had a rough day, been through a lot, but they could call me with the most irrelevant thing that is not an emergency, but I will hop up and go run and go see how to save and help. And then when they give me that oh my God, you're such a good friend. That's my dopamine. That's my hit. Okay, I did good. But it's like, it's just so much crazy stuff that, like, we could laugh at it now, but it's just like, my gosh, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
Just to be liked and loved, I guess.
Yeah. And then there's so much resentment as well, because obviously, like we've said, you just want to fix everybody. And sometimes people don't want fixing.
Mm-mm.
And when you're trying to do something for somebody and they're just not appreciative at all, we then get the resentment for something that nobody asked us to do in the first
Mm-hmm,
place.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep, yep. It's a vicious cycle. It is
Yeah.
a vicious cycle. I was trying to think of this. I read a book. It's the title of the book is The Art of Not Giving a F.
Oh,
You know,
yeah. Yeah, I know that
that
one.
book. Yeah, he said something in there about people pleasers and how we start resenting people when they don't appreciate us, like you said. But then why are we needing them to? Why are we doing it in the first place? But then
Yeah.
why are we needing them to appreciate us? If we're just genuinely doing it, then we shouldn't care if they appreciate it. So I was like, ouch. I mean, I
Yeah.
I think I was genuinely doing it, but I wasn't. It was a little bit of both. I wanted the
Yeah.
acknowledgement, but I also wanted to be a servant. Help people, should I
Yeah.
say?
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing, isn't it? We want to be doing good things, and we aren't doing them for bad reasons. We genuinely want to help people and take care of people, but we also crave that external validation as well, because, like you say, that dopamine hit comes from feeling needed. And if they're
Mm-hmm.
not appreciative, it's kind of like, well, why did I do all that? Because I'm trying to show you that you need me.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just kind of brushing it off as if it doesn't matter. So
Yeah.
now I'm going to try even harder to win your love and affection.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you say, it's just this vicious cycle that just keeps spinning, and until you get that awareness of what you're doing, you kind of just stuck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what was your sort of like the straw that broke the camel's back then? What made you decide, like, this is it, I can't continue, I need to change something?
I would say the first straw was in 2020 when I went through my marriage ended abruptly due to a lot of infidelity, and I found out a lot of information, and so it was like, this is it. And so I finally had filed for divorce, and then that's when I went on my healing journey. But as we know, it's called healing, the ing, it's not ed. So it's just been a roller coaster of healing. Then I went back to reverted to the same patterns. Then I go back to start healing. So I would say 2020 is what set me on my path, but I am still today like working on shedding certain, like a little residue that's left of wanting to be liked and wanting to, be a part of some things that I shouldn't be a part of. But it's just, it's lonely when it's like, just feel alone. Like, oh my God, I'm so isolated. Not many people are on this journey. A lot of people are unhealed and not doing those things, but I don't want to be with that group, right? I want to elevate. But so sorry to go back to that. That was a straw that set me. That was the straw that broke the camel's back and like put me like on my path. And then just been every chance I get revisiting things that I need to let go and release, because it's not as easy as people think it is.
So was the divorce your choice?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's huge then, that you were able to walk away from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. It was hard, and thankfully we didn't have children together. My children were by someone else, so that made it a little easier I didn't have to see him anymore, after that. But it was just the whole thing of, man, I really thought I was chosen for once. I thought somebody had actually wanted me and genuinely wanted me. But so I filed and didn't look back.
That's amazing. Like I don't even know you, and I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Like I know like that can't have been the easiest thing, because like people pleasers and people who abandon themselves, we tend to stay in relationships a lot longer than we should, because we're just so focused on trying to fix it and hold on for any kind of hope that things will just get better. So to just cut it off and walk away, and then commit yourself to healing and trying to sort of change those patterns and behaviors is an amazingly courageous thing to do.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. You know, when you don't realize it, because I don't realize it, should I say. I didn't realize it because it was me. You know, so I'm like, people get divorced every day. It's no big deal. But, you know, even with you saying that, it's like, thank you, because even as years pass on, it's like, oh, that was no big deal. But it was.
It was.
It really was. Yeah.
And here you are coming out the other side and 100% better for it.
Yeah, something terrible. Yeah. Sorry, got a little choked up there. But yeah.
Happy tears, I hope.
Yeah. Oh, they are. Yes. Yeah. But and then with me having 4 daughters, it's like I just wanted to set that example for them that it is safe to choose you every time.
Yeah.
It is. And it's scary when you have learned that you are not a priority and you don't matter. But I wanted them to see different, you know.
Yeah.
So
do you obviously you've got children. I'm guessing that's changed how you look at yourself when it comes to people pleasing and self-abandonment. How has their influence kind of affected you?
Having children and people pleasing.
So obviously, like, because raising them, you don't want them to repeat the same mistakes that you did, do you? So are you a bit more aware of how you are when it comes to people pleasing, or do you tend to not now, but before? Was it something that you kind of didn't recognize?
Well, unfortunately, being that most in 2020, I would say that's when I starting to pay attention to the patterns of people pleasing and stuff. So my 2 older ones were pretty much old, you know, out of the house or in college and things at that time. So they all had witnessed me people pleasing for the majority of their life, you know. My younger 2, they have seen a change, but sometimes they still say, you know, Ma, you know, why are you don't want to do it? Why are you doing it? And I'm like, well, you know, she needs me to help her. And I'm like, but that's showing them. And I see it in my youngest, like she really doesn't want to do things, but then she'll do it just because she's like, I don't want them to be upset. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we got to break this cycle now. So that's why I have that talk with her. Like, hey, you know, if you really don't, it's okay to say no. And so, I see it in that aspect. Hopefully she's, you know, paying attention, catching on.
Well, that's good though, because if they're calling you out on it, they're obviously aware of it, and they're seeing that it's not necessarily a good thing and a good pattern to follow, like down that road. So that's really good.
Yeah.
So, dating. Have you? Is that all right to touch on that? Have you started dating since the divorce?
Well, since you had to go there.
If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. I don't want to push you into anything you don't want to.
No, because, and you know, like you and I said, somebody out there may be going through the same thing. And so they may need to hear this. So, unfortunately, right after the marriage ended, I started, they call it situationships nowadays, but I was in a little situationship with someone I had grew up with. And that was another narcissistic relationship, because I had went right from being divorced, and it felt like, okay, now somebody I know, this is safe. So he's here to save me from that. But no, it was rough. And that was 2 years of my life after that divorce. So that was my dating experience with him. And then I noticed moving forward, I'm trying to date people, but they'll come on hot and heavy. Like we'll be good for like 3 months strong, and then they just ghost or disappear. And then I'm like, that's the work that triggered my abandonment. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I can imagine.
I didn't even know I had that in me still, but it was just like, I had this one connection and then it just went like that. And I was just so distraught because what is it about me? What did I do? It's the worst feeling. But I know now in hindsight, that was to finish off the job of helping me heal those abandonment wounds.
Yeah.
Because it was really bad. It was really bad. And I didn't realize it, So as far as dating, I have not dated in some years. Like I have not been in a relationship or anything. And it's just like, will I ever date? I hope so. But I don't go looking. I don't go into, So no, dating, it's a lonely place right now, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think that's all you can do, isn't it? Is just take it step by step and just hope that if somebody does come along, it's for the right reasons and they're not just more of the same, preying on people like you. And I guess because you've done some of the work and like obviously you said healing, not healed, because we're never fixed, we're never fully fixed. We can't. No. There's always room to grow. But because you've done some of the work, hopefully they won't be sort of sniffing you out as easily. So
exactly,
just keep walking.
Keep working. Oh my gosh, yes, and it must be working. It must be working.
Yeah, well, that's it. And I think if you're just doing the work, then you'll recognize those red flags quicker anyway, won't you? And hopefully, even if you do end up in a relationship with them, you'll be able to see those patterns as they're coming up and go, whoa, we've done this before. It didn't end well. Let's call it a day.
And I have. I pat myself on the back because there was a guy that tried to, I don't know if we can call it date me, but for a solid month. But I kept feeling in my gut like something is off with him. Something is off, and I honored that. So it was. I joked with my sister. I said I went from 7 years with my husband to 30 days. So I think I'm doing good because I saw all of that and I didn't feel good. So I cut that off immediately. So my discernment is getting better.
That's
and I'm learning how
growth.
to cut people off quicker.
That's amazing growth because like it's difficult, isn't it? Like you say, when you've been out of touch with your intuition and you've not been listening to your gut in the past, it takes a while for that discernment to come back. And the more you listen to it, the stronger it gets.
That's true. It is another muscle. I feel like, once you train it and use it over and over, then it's going to work in your favor.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Yeah.
So going back to your healing journey then, what did that look like for you?
So one of the things that I share with people is that once the marriage ended, I had a funeral for my for my marriage. So it was a literal funeral that I had myself, and it was to grieve what I thought was supposed to be. And so that started the path of the healing. And then I took workshops, healing the inner child seminars and workshops and retreats to figure out where is this coming from. And then I ended up now, that's what I actually teach. But because I didn't know how profound it was to go back. A lot of people say, don't go back there. Whatever was done, leave it alone. But I'm like, oh no, you have to go back to see where the core wound started. And then that's when you can start healing. So that's what I started doing, that healing and inner child work. That, some people say shadow work. Some people say, everybody has different things. I just went in. Yeah. I went in. I did not, because it's easy to go outside of. I could have went and got married again and made another man my placeholder for my pain. Okay, I could have drank it away, slept it away, smoked it away, whatever. But I actually went in and did the work. So a lot of time in solitude, I've been journaling since I was 14. So I was journaling everything out, which led to me writing the book that we talked about. But it's just, I actually found a way to express myself, because to me, it wasn't safe to express myself in my relationships. They were uncomfortable with my feelings. As a child, I was too sensitive. People didn't really want to hear what I had. So it was like everything's always bottled up. So that was part of my healing, was to actually finally start using my voice. And then that's when I started speaking at women's empowerment events and things of that nature to help other people. So it's like 2020 set me on fire in a way, as far as my healing goes.
You know, one of my favorite things about this podcast is speaking to women like yourself who have been through something and that's led them to exactly what they are doing now. And it's everything has sort of culminated in this beautiful gift that they can now sort of give to the world. And like I'm really into human design, and one of my life themes is purpose through struggle. So like I love that kind of thing because it's exactly what I do. I teach people to recognize who they are and what they value so they can stop people pleasing and self-abandoning and live a life on their terms without guilt, because that's the dream, isn't it? Is to be able to live life for yourself. And that's exactly why we're here. But the amount of people that have gone through things and used their own healing journey to help other people is it's amazing. It's just one of them things that makes my heart just huge.
I know. It's like the joy that I feel even when I'm doing it, and to see other people like yourself and others doing that, because that's what this world needs right now.
Yeah.
You know,
We
and
need
so
more
it's
positivity and healing.
Yes. And that's what we are here for. That's why we went through it, you know.
And it's interesting. You mentioned about the funeral for the divorce and like basically saying goodbye to the life that you thought you were going to live. And I've had so many discussions on this podcast about the importance of grieving change, because yes, change opens up like happiness and it opens up possibility, but change also means leaving something else behind. So it's so important, like you did, to grieve the loss of what you're leaving behind, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's just part of yourself that you're kind of saying goodbye to because it's no longer serving you anymore. It's so important to show it the respect, because whatever's happened has taught you something. And now you can go forward, you can say goodbye to it and just go forward in a way that aligns with who you are now.
Yeah. And it's funny you said the version of yourself, because it is also the version of yourself that you have outgrown. That is a grieving process.
Yeah.
But people don't realize you have to grieve to make space for the new, what's coming in.
Yeah.
And so, that's why I told people, I said, hey, a lot of people had divorce parties. I didn't want to celebrate. I wanted to have this funeral because I felt like it was something waiting for me underneath the rubber or the rummage or whatever. So yeah, you got to make space for the new, and it's not comfortable at all. No,
but nothing worth doing is ever comfortable. You've got to push yourself outside of that comfort zone, and like that's one of the reasons why I don't like spiritual bypassing, and I tend to distance myself a little bit from the spiritual world, because people they're scared to sit in their emotions and process the things that they're going through. And to me, you can't move forward until those things have been resolved. It's impossible. You can repress it, but then you end up with problems further down the line, because everything that's repressed suddenly comes back up and it triggers things. You get nervous system dysregulation, and it just makes life so much more difficult than it needs to be.
Yeah, and diseases in your body, all of that. Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's not going anywhere. That's
no.
true.
No, and like I used to be really bad, like repressing emotions, and like it got to a point where I just didn't know how to process emotions because I'd repressed that much. I just didn't know how to feel those emotions anymore. So like I know how difficult it is to suddenly go, no, actually I need to sit with this, and if that means I'm going to cry for an hour straight, that means I'm going to cry for an hour straight. But when I get up after crying, I'm going to walk out that door and I'm going to be reinvigorated and feel 100 times better than if I'd have just gone, nah, just push it away and we'll deal with that in another 10 years.
Yeah. Or it's going to deal with you in another 10 years.
More likely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So while you were doing this healing, did you ever feel fear or uncertainty about the new direction your life was taking?
Yeah, always,
Yeah.
always. I honestly, little secret, I feel it now, because my life is changing so drastically now. And
Yeah.
it's like when you just said grieving the parts of you that no longer, that version of yourself, that's where I was. It was like, I know I want to leave this part behind. I don't want to be a people pleaser. But as I start to shed that and elevate more, then I start shrinking back down, and it's weird. I can't really describe it. You may understand what I'm trying to say, but it's like even now I've had a lot of growth in my life, expansion. And then okay, this is where I am. I'm celebrating some accomplishments. I'm doing better things. But then I feel like, no, you know what? I'm doing too much. People are probably going to think that I think that I'm too all of that right now, and that I'm arrogant. So then I'm going to scale it back a little bit and scale it back. And then once again, I go into hiding almost, because I
Yeah.
can't find that balance between, people are like, stay humble. And then some people are like, no, be proud of yourself. And then it's like, what do I do? I just want to be me.
Yeah.
But it's scary to show up fully as myself in an environment that has praised me for not being my authentic self, if that makes sense.
100%.
Yeah.
100% relate to that.
Yeah.
And like, have you found as you've been going through this journey that you've had people fall away, and relationships have struggled as a result of it because people don't like the fact that you're now putting yourself first?
Yes. Yeah. I like left and right.
Yeah.
Left and right. And it's hard for me because I love connection. I love to feel like I'm a part of something. So if I have a lot of friends, I had a lot of men that wanted to call me and talk to me like, oh, somebody wants me, but
Yeah.
when I started realizing that's not love, that's not true friendship, and then I started prioritizing myself, I have been told like, oh, you know what, you changed, you act different now. I don't like that party.
Yeah.
And so, of course, that person knows that that's going to make me be like, uh-oh, what am I doing? But I'm doing something right. If it
Yeah.
triggers you to say that I'm changing, but I have lost people left and right. And what it is, I think too, is I stopped looking at them through the rose colored glasses.
Mm.
And once I really saw who I was surrounded by, I couldn't keep them.
Yeah.
And even if I wanted to, it's like the universe just they magically just disappeared out of my grasp. So
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's like as people pleasers and self abandoners, we kind of we go through life and we have a lot of people who are in our life and they're friends. We've got relationships left, right, and center because we kind of cultivate all of these relationships around ourselves,
mhm.
that we can feel part of that community and feel that level of belonging that we crave. But it's very like one of the most difficult things I found was having to admit to myself that the community and the relationships that I built didn't know who I was. They didn't know the real me. They knew the me that I was projecting. They kind of knew like the social media version of me, like with the filters and the highlights and
Uh-huh.
that kind of version. And I think that connection with that realization made me even more determined to not play safe and not play small. Because if people are going to get to know me now, I want them to get to know me on my terms for who I am. And if they
Mhm.
don't like that, that's fine. They're not my people.
Nope.
my
Nope.
my people will be attracted to me as my authentic self. And then I've found, I don't know if you've found it as you've been finding your way, those relationships are even more solid than any relationship I've had in the past because it doesn't matter what I do, they love me unconditionally, they accept me
Mhm.
unconditionally because they know, oh, that's just Haley.
Right. Right. And that's you wholeheartedly. And they
Yeah.
still love and accept it. And yeah, you're right. You don't have to perform,
Yeah.
you know.
and and you don't feel like you need to shrink and take a step back because you're being too much, because you're being just the right amount. And people accept that because they're not used to the version of you that you allow them to see, the curated version of you that you allow them to see.
Yeah, which that's something that you just brought up, who we allow them to see. That's something I heard, why we attract narcissists is because we're wearing a mask as well. You know, we're pretending to be a people, this person that really wants to help. And they're wearing a mask. They're not who they pretend to be. And that's how we come together.
Yeah.
But I mean, duality is everything. So
it is. It definitely is. Everything has polarity, doesn't it? There's negative and positives of everything.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you're still struggling with? Like, what are you finding still hard now? Are you struggling with anything, like learning things about yourself as you're going?
Yeah. I'm struggling with, it's lonely in the space of healing, self-improvement. It's not as many people there. When I was making poor choices and just letting the work, everybody have their way with me. So it's very lonely, like yesterday, it's like I went to a friend's house for an event, but then after I left, I'm like, it's almost, it's basically summertime here, and it's hot outside. I'm normally a nature person. I love to be outside. I love bonfires, everything. And I'm like, I don't have anywhere to go. I don't have anybody to go with. And then, I mean, not that I need people, I'll go by myself certain places, but it's like, okay, it's nighttime. And I don't want to just go pull up, some random place and by myself. But it's like the phone doesn't ring anymore. It seems lonely to me because I'm like, it seems like everybody around me is living their best life and they have so many options and all the men want them and everybody loves. And I'm like, what is it about me? But it's like, I can't, I mean, even just to put it out there, like I've been celibate for months, almost like going on 8 months now. And it's just like no type of connection, no physical connection. No, I love to talk. I love to connect to people. That's my love languages, through words and stuff. So it's like all of that is just gone. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's just lonely. And that's something I struggle with. And I admit it. And, people be like, well, you shouldn't say you are lonely. Just say, you feel alone. I'm like, either way it goes, alone, lonely, whatever adjective, verb, whatever you want to give it. I feel it,
Yeah. And I get that because it's one of them, isn't it? Because I found personally when I was people pleasing that I was lonely then. I had a lot of people around me. I had a lot of people I could talk to and I had I could go out and do things, but I was lonely because they didn't know the real me. So it was kind of like a bit of a double-edged sword. And then obviously when I started choosing myself, it then feels, like you say, really lonely, but also isolating. It kind of just feels like you're all automatically just like cut off from people that you really care about. And it's really difficult to or at least I found it really difficult because I kept wanting to reach out and like repair those burned bridges and try and invite those people back into my life, because I was convinced that once they just came around and they got to know the real me, it'd be fine, and then everything would just be back the way it used to be. But it never works out like that.
It does not, and that is very tempting.
Yeah.
To go back and try to find, because you're like, okay, I'll just call this person. I'll call this person, but and I think that's the thing is like I have been disciplined to not even, no matter how lonely I may feel in that moment, I don't pick up my phone and contact anybody from my past. Even if some people call me, certain people, they're not getting answered or they're blocked now, but it's just, I will take lonely over misery any day,
Yeah. Definitely. And that's where I'm at now. It's like I would rather be alone than have people who placate me because I'm being the kind of person they want me to be at the expense of myself.
Yep. Exactly.
And that's not fair on me, and honestly it's not fair on them.
No, you're right. It's not. And to go, I'm sorry, to add on to
that's fine.
That what I am struggling with, what you talked about just made me think. I mentioned like expanding and how it feels scary is because I'm still like in my hometown, like where I live. And so that version of me, the one that was promiscuous and made poor choices, I'm still in the same environment.
Yeah.
So me, they still probably see me as her, so it's not like
Yeah.
they don't see
Yeah.
the growth. Now I could move somewhere tomorrow. I could come visit you and, and people there might be like, oh my God, who is this, Haley? Who is this? But in
Yeah.
here in my environment, it's like, oh, that's just JaHana, whatever, so it's like trying to still fit in an environment by showing like, oh, hey, it's still me. I don't think I'm all that. I don't think I'm better, but then just knowing that I deserve better. So why can't I show up as a better version of myself?
Yeah.
And that be okay.
Yeah. And I get what you're saying as well, because like I've moved around loads with my dad being in the military. We never stayed in one place, and then I joined the military straight from school. So I was 17 when I joined the RAF, and I was in the RAF till I was 28.
What?
And as a 28-year-old woman, people were still looking because they'd seen me like as a 17-year-old and growing up in this small community, because it like the job that I had was there wasn't many people doing that job, so you tended to move around and see the same people like multiple times in your career. And because they knew me as that 17-year-old who was like really naive and like thought she knew everything about the world and she was right and was quite frankly an idiot. Because they knew me as that person, they still saw me as that person when I grown up and got married and was like probably more of an adult than they were, but because that's who they'd grown up with, like they'd seen me grow up, and they still saw me as that little girl who wasn't they couldn't take seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's crazy. And then when I moved away, I started fresh, and now everybody knows me as me.
Exactly. As they should. You.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to realize that that's what I needed to do, but it was definitely worth all the struggle to get there.
Yeah, I agree.
So other than that and the loneliness, is there anything else like that you feel you're still working on and trying to figure out as you go?
Just trying to learn detachment and how not to internalize things. Like I said, if I'm like, wait a minute, why aren't any men approaching me? And I had a guy, an older guy, who's like a father figure to me. He told me that's a compliment. He was like, you should be happy. Like that means you have really evolved, because if not, like if your frequency was still down here, then you would be attracting all kind of men. They would be in your inbox all day, all night. Everybody, because what we said earlier, they smell it, But now he was like, they know like, oh, she's not going for this, so why even waste my time? And I was like, that might be true, but can at least one person try? You know what I'm saying? Like, can at least one person attempt to? But it's just so it's like understanding that doesn't mean I'm not beautiful, I'm not valuable, I'm not enough, whatever, just because a man doesn't want me or this group doesn't want me to join their plight or whatever. That has nothing to do with me. And so I'm learning to stop personalizing and internalizing things that have nothing to do with me,
Yeah. And I think the best way to kind of look at that is you've outgrown them. You don't need them. And as much as it would be nice to get that attention and feel like you're wanted and needed, somebody will come along. Somebody will come along when you're ready for it. And hopefully they will be deserving. They will be deserving of the woman that you've grown into.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. That's true.
So I'm going to move on to the sort of it's probably the most difficult part of the podcast, I think. Basically, if you could go back and speak to the older version of yourself, what would you tell her?
Oh man, I definitely would tell her that she's always been enough.
Yeah.
that the words that people said to her, she's ugly, she's a hoe, because she didn't know that she could not be promiscuous. All of those harsh things, to let her know she didn't know then what she knows now. So I would definitely ask her to forgive me, to forgive her. It's just been a rough journey, but it's been worth it. But I would just want her to know that she's enough now. And that is what matters now. So, cause that was the biggest struggle, is just always feeling less than and not enough. So
Like,
I think and I would tell her to stop looking for love and stop.
let love find her.
Let love find her and stop looking for these knuckleheads. It will.
Yeah. One thing I do want to just comment on, you kept saying you're enough now.
Mm-hmm.
She's always been enough.
That's true.
She's always been enough. She's just not been able to see it.
Nope. Thank you for the reminder. Reminder.
I think it's an important. I don't usually like correcting people, but I think that's the very important distinction to make. Is it's not just now, it's always.
Yeah.
Even when people are making mistakes and not on their best path, they are always enough. You are always enough.
Thank you. So true. So very true.
Yeah. And it's so easy to forget.
It is. It is. It is.
Any more wisdom? Is there anything you would tell other people who are struggling with the same sort of things that you've been through?
Yeah, I would definitely tell them to embrace the light and the darkness, because that's where the magic happens. A lot of people just want to stay in the light and want everything to be beautiful and rosy. That's not reality. You have to welcome in the darkness and transform it, alchemize it to what works for you, but have fun. I think even now I see a lot of people just like working or stressing about money, everything. It's like, just have fun. Just have fun. Like, this world everything is happening at such a fast pace right now. Just have fun. Like, I do crazy stuff. Like, I dance all the time. I put on a Michael Jackson outfit and dance. Like, I just love
that.
Expression.
Yeah.
So it's like, just have fun, people, so that's what I would definitely tell people when life is starting to get too hard for you, go dance, go buy yourself some ice cream, go do something that your younger self would have done easily, unapologetically. So that's my advice. Like, don't ever, ever forget the little girl or the little boy that's inside of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I love that advice. I love it. I've done this. I've literally got a list of all the things I used to do as a child, like climbing trees, hula hooping. And whenever I feel like I'm getting down and need to pick me up, I'll just look at my list and go, oh yeah, that looks fun. I'll go do that. So
yes,
I've started hula hooping again, and I don't necessarily go climb trees. Like, I'll go look for a tree swing or something like that.
Get close as possible.
Yeah. I'm too old to be climbing trees now.
Oh yeah.
I probably end up falling out and hurting myself because I'm really clumsy.
Yeah, don't climb the tree, Haley. Don't climb the tree.
Yeah, and then I've got a playlist. Like, if I find myself getting angry at things, or if I just, like, again, need to pick me up, I've got certain playlists that I know I can just put on, and they will, like, it's difficult to not move when I've got them on, so I'll just be prancing around the house, like you said, dancing and having fun and just experiencing joy, because that's what life's about.
It is. And that's what I don't want anyone to lose sight of. It's like, always remember, the joy is within you. The magic is within you. The happiness, everything that we go outside and outsource ourselves, outside of ourselves for, it's already within us. So let's enjoy it. Have fun.
Embrace it.
Yeah.
So other than the Michael Jackson outfits and the music, what else brings you joy? I'm intrigued.
Definitely anything by water. If I could just sit by the lake, ocean, something. If I could just sit by water all day and just daydream. I am, like I said, I love nature. So just being outside, laying on the grass, touching a tree, not climbing a tree, but I'll touch it. I'm not going up. I'm not going up a tree.
I'm not going to argue.
Yeah, right.
I would not advocate people go climbing trees.
No.
If you do it at your own harm.
Right. Use your discretion, please. Yeah. But yeah, anything that is self-expression, I create, I write, I speak, anything that allows me to keep myself happy and relevant to me, Yeah.
And I'm gonna let you shamelessly plug yourself in a minute because you mentioned you write. So do you want to tell everybody about your book? Metamorphosis, is it?
Yeah, the book is Metamorphosis. It is a poetry collection because I've been writing in my journal since I was 14. So I have written several different poems or short stories throughout that period. And then I turned it into the book, the poetry collection. And then it has journal prompts in it for the reader to also do their own healing, work and prompts and go on their healing journey as well. And then just in this week, I published a children's book called Birds of a Different Feather, Too Bright to Fit In. So that one is my story. Oh my God, it's my story, but I made it into, the bird, and the story is really me. Yeah. But the bird, I don't want to give it away what happens, but yeah. So I have that, but then I also created a interaction, a social emotional component, like for caregivers, counselors, teachers, parents, where that one has like activities, questions, and different things in it. So I'm so proud of myself because although I said I felt lonely, I was still using my time wisely. So I was creating. So
that's amazing.
Metamorphosis and Birds of a Different Feather. Yes.
That's amazing and so needed as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so I do you know we've been going for over an hour. I know. I just literally looked at the clock. I was like, oh my gosh.
I know. It is. Okay.
Time flies.
It does.
So where can people connect with you if they sort of relate to your story and just want to connect with you, or they want to find out more about what you actually do? How would they go about that?
So right now, I have the link tree which has all like my socials on it, podcast appearances, books, everything is like on that on the link tree right now, working on the website. But JaHana Holloway on Facebook, and then Vibe, VIBE with JaHana on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. Perfect. So those, I think that's the rest of them. Yep.
I'll put those in the podcast description anyway, and your link tree link will be there as well. So is that where they can get your books?
Mm-hmm. Yep. The Perfect. Books are in there. Yep.
So if there's any moms listening,
I know, please.
Please go and have a look.
Yes, please have a look. And I read it to a group of first graders and kindergartners 2 weeks ago, kindergartners, and they loved it. So that was a great experience.
That's amazing. I love it. Thank you so much for taking the time and coming on and talking with me. It's been incredible. And I've loved hearing your story and chatting with you about sort of the parallels between what we've both been through. It's nice speaking to people and hearing stories that are similar to what you've been through, because like I don't know about you, but I felt quite alone for quite a long time. And then I realized that it's quite a common thing.
It is, right? Once you put it out there, you realize, oh, I'm not alone. So yes, that's why I love this platform, because people need to hear that they are not alone.
Yes. And that's exactly why I started the podcast, because I wanted people to feel like they could have a community and they didn't have to feel quite so lonely and isolated. Right. And without people like you, this podcast wouldn't exist. So thank you so much for being vulnerable enough to share your story with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much as well, Haley. I appreciate you.
And to those listening at home, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I know these conversations aren't always easy to sit with, so we really appreciate you sticking through it. We'll see you next week.